Welcome back to the Reptiles With Podcast. We're hanging out at the February Tampa Repticon Reptile Show. This episode was brought to you by Repticon Reptile Shows. All right, buddy, introduce yourself.
Hi there. So my name is Emilio Hernandez.
Yep.
I own nightfallexotics.
Cool beans. All right, so last show we were talking about something cool that you had, which you brought, I guess, a cousin. That is the, so you have a Chinese cave gecko with you. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I focus on cave geckos with the entirety of the Goniosaurus genus.
Yeah.
And last show we were talking about the Goniosaurus orientalis, the Japanese cave geckos.
Yeah.
Which I've been working with for about 2 years consistently now.
Okay.
And then I also work with a couple other species. So today I have a Goniosaurus hainanensis, the Chinese cave gecko, one of the more common species that we see.
So Japanese cave geckos, as far as I know, they're pretty pricey. What would you say, other than demand, what makes the Japanese, I guess, more sought after than the Chinese cave geckos?
A large part of it is that fewer people are working with them right now.
Okay.
They used to be much more popular about a decade ago, and then people kind of got out of them. And then after they got CITES listed, small groups of people that still had them started breeding them and not really selling too many of them. So they kind of became they almost disappeared in the hobby for a little bit. And then now there's a bit of a resurgence.
Okay, and then I know that in one of the Tiki's Geckos videos, they show like a couple different kinds. Is there like specific kinds that you're working with?
So right now I'm working with 4 species.
Okay.
I'm working with hainanensis, bowanglinghensis, orientalis, and recently I just started working with the Vietnamese cave geckos, the Aranæus.
Okay.
And so the plan is to expand a little more into the genus in the future, but it's a little bit hard to find ready-to-breed adults right now for other species, especially due to the fact that a lot of people are holding back the majority of their stock.
Yeah. Well, so I personally, cave geckos are probably some of the nicest, more land-dwelling geckos, as opposed to like stuff that's more arboreal. Now, the one that you had at the last show, the Japanese one, I mean, that thing was just out of the world. Is there one that's, like, specific that you like? Like, do you have, like, a preference on one?
So, if I could pick absolutely any of them, I really love the Kuriawai.
Okay.
They kind of vary a little bit, but a lot of the pictures that you'll see on Google, they're almost entirely black. They have those red eyes, and then they have orange stripes down their lats.
Yeah.
So they're like one of the more unique-looking Japanese species, and they're one of the harder to find ones at this point too. So those are definitely on my list for the future.
All right, and now care and breeding. Walk me through that process.
So care for the cave geckos is there's a lot of people tweak it in different ways. But what I find works really well is to keep them on a sand and soil mixture.
Okay.
I always include some sphagnum in there. A lot of people keep them bioactive. The priority is just to keep them in a moist environment. They like it more humid, and they don't necessarily need under-tank heating. They really can go very well within the range of the 70s. It's just good to not let them go below 69 or above 80.
Okay.
And then, in terms of feeding, these guys are super open to different insects. I do crickets, discoids, as well as various species of worms.
Yeah, you think it's like, as far as ease of care, I'm always careful with talking about that because people think that like, oh, it's easy, I could just maintenance it like low maintenance kind of thing. But would you say in relation to something more popular, a leopard gecko, what's easier?
So cave geckos, if you do your research right, require less, you could call it items than a leopard gecko would. That being said, you should always prioritize getting everything for the animal that you're working with.
Yep.
But cave geckos, they don't require under-tank heating, and they don't require overhead lighting. Some people will use UV for them. You can use UV for them, but as long as you're making sure that you're supplementing with the proper calcium and other vitamin supplements, they also don't necessarily require overhead lighting.
Okay. And what's their like natural habitat like? Like where would somebody find one?
So cave geckos are kind of distributed throughout Eastern Asia.
Okay.
And amongst the Vietnamese ones, the Chinese ones, and the Japanese ones, their habitats kind of range a little bit.
Okay.
The cave gecko is a bit of a misnomer because they don't actually live in caves, but they live towards the entrance of them. They prefer cooler areas where they'll generally hunt for millipedes and isopods and similar smaller arthropods. Yeah,
very, very cool. And the reason why I ask is with new species that I personally am getting into, I am going outside of, instead of watching how like the pet trade deals with them and like does their care, and more what's going on in their natural habitat. How can I mimic that? I specifically did that with like the Brettles pythons that I work with. You know, when I was like, okay, I know I'm not going to keep them in a rack. I did a lot of research. I was like, okay, they're from Alice Springs. Like, what's the climate like? What does it look like where they're from? And then I was like, okay, I'm going to design the enclosure, based on that. But that's very cool. When you go about finding a new species to work with yourself, like what are some things that you look for in an animal?
So something I've always prioritized, specifically about geckos, is I like species that just pop.
Okay.
I've always loved, your cresteds and gargoyles, but I've also always pursued species that kind of catch your eye in a different way.
Yeah.
For example, what really draws me to the cave geckos is that they naturally have those bright red eyes, which is just something that in a leopard gecko we see as a morph, but in an actual species that has evolved to have those eyes, it really stands out.
Yeah. Interesting. Yo, there are some dogs that are just barking right now, dude. How close are those dogs? That is crazy. There's dogs barking. There's ducks flying around everywhere. This is a wild show.
It is a wild Tampa Repticon already.
It's been fun. So, have you had a chance to walk around the show? Anything cool?
I've been walking around a little bit. I always love seeing what kinds of cool geckos people bring to these shows.
Yeah.
I'm definitely excited. It's been a while since the last Tampa show, and this is one of my favorite shows to be at because there's always something cool.
Yeah, definitely. Anything cool coming out in the future that you want to promote?
So I will be at the Daytona show this year. I'm very excited for that.
Yep.
I'm ready to, kind of kickstart showing off a little more of what I've been working with. I'll be bringing some Japanese caves as well as some other species.
Yep.
And I'm super excited to also show some of the other species I haven't put out on my socials yet. Mm-hmm. The big plan for the next year is I'm going to be actually moving from Florida for a little bit.
Okay.
And so in that time, I'm going to try to be continuing to grow, Nightfall Exotics.
Where are you going to be moving to?
I'll be in Massachusetts just for a year.
Okay. What are you going to do up there?
I'm going to be finishing up school, actually.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah, finishing up the last year of my grad program.
Okay.
And then after that, be back in Florida.
Rock and roll, man. Listen, I'm going to attack something real quick, and then we'll get going. So, in the description, or go to modernreptileshop.com. We just launched our merch. We have new videos coming out on the YouTube channel once a month, where it's more like short form, comedy based, so definitely check that out. The Reptiles with Coffee, you could also find it on modernreptileshop.com. But listen, brother, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I'll see you at Daytona, man.
Yeah, I'm Tristan Kaler with RUNITReptileExpo Virtual.
All right, so this has been going on for a little bit. I know that you've been testing it out on different shows. Can you talk to me about the inception of the idea? How did this come about?
Yeah, so this all kind of started back during the pandemic.
Yeah.
It kind of just became a thing there because everyone was stranded at home. The shows had kind of came to a halt for everyone. And so I was just kind of in my room playing around and was doing a live feeding video, which essentially kind of turned into a live auction that night.
Yeah.
We kind of just did a little giveaway for some of the people that were watching. It was about 2:30 at night, and I still had a nice little following in there. And so I kind of just did a giveaway. They had to pay for shipping, but they received the animal for free. And based off that, I had a buddy of mine that was watching it, and he was like, hey, man, you should try auctioning off one of those animals. And so we did that, and we kind of generated some sales that night. And so it got the wheels turning, being as the shows were shut down. We really didn't know how long that was going to take for the shows to get back in action. So we kind of started putting that in play in one of my small garages that I had on the house, and we kind of just made a small mock-up of what the Gecko Junkie booth, that I have looks like. And we put some animals on the table and just kind of gave it a nice little presence. And we went live, started streaming it on Facebook. And from there, we ran, I think, 1 or 2 events, but we learned that Facebook would shut you down if you were on the event for too long.
Really?
Or live for too long. So, like, if you run a live on Facebook, I guess, for an extended period of time, they kind of just shut the video down. So we didn't really get shut down because it was, not something we could do on Facebook. It was because of the length of the video.
Got you.
And one of our participants at the time was using Zoom. So she kind of introduced us to Zoom, and we moved our platform to Zoom.
Okay.
And so that was kind of really what got the idea of what is now RUNITReptileExpo Virtual kind of going. Was we ran a little live auction at my house during the pandemic, and we did it multiple times, and it was pretty successful.
Yeah, so something that you and I pretty much just spoke about before we started recording was that some vendors might have issues displaying their animals or putting it with other people's animals, maybe people they don't trust and stuff like that. How do you combat that stigma? How do you
Yeah.
say, like, no, like, you don't have anything to worry about, we have a clean operation? How do you go about that, the logistics of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a learning curve. We're
Yeah.
going to learn as we go with some things where,
Yeah.
every new adventure is going to have things that you have to work out, kinks you have to work out.
Yeah.
But I think that we're on the right path just by talking to vendors in the shows,
Yeah.
getting feedback. So some things that we're trying to put in play, especially for like the ball pythons, one of the main concerns is people are worried, well, what if another guy's snake has mites,
Yeah.
right? And you put it on the same table and then now they can pretty much cross-contaminate one of another. So we came up with an idea where at our check-in station, we eventually want to put in play where if you are bringing snakes, then maybe you treat your snakes right there.
Got
right?
you,
So
got
each
you.
vendor would treat the snake, which then would show us if they do have mites,
Yeah.
which would then give us the opportunity to say, hey, maybe you're not welcome at this event just
Yep.
because of this. We're not banning you, but we've, seen this happen. But we are scanning the animals, trying to watch, make
Yeah,
sure
make sure
everything looks
everything's
healthy.
healthy. Good.
But we did come up with an idea as well after talking to a couple vendors is possibly doing like a vendor highlight spots.
Yep.
Right. So what we do is then we auction off or sell spots with your table cost to where we would come to your tables certain times of the day. So we
Uh-huh.
can start to create kind of like a vendor layout.
Yeah.
So they know from this time to this time we're going to be featuring said vendor. But then we would come to your actual booth. So that's kind of going to highlight your booth, show people what you really are about, get to show them your display that's at the show, which
Yeah.
is great for branding too.
Yeah.
But then it kind of protects your animals. Your animals never leave your table and get put into a setting where they're around other animals. So I think
Yeah.
that's something we've kind of got figured out, and we just got to kind of play around with it.
Yeah, so I've been working with Repticon now, doing these podcasts at these shows for a bit over a year, and every time that I've had conversations with them, they're always excited about new and interesting things to do at the shows.
Yeah.
They do have a lot of care for wanting to always improve, make it as exciting for the people that are coming to the show as it is for being a vendor here. Like,
Right.
have a good time. And it's something that I've enjoyed about doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Is getting to talk to a bunch of different people, and then even the people that I don't talk to, they see that the podcast is going on, then they talk to me about the podcast,
Right.
and it's creating a little bit of a situation, where
Yeah.
we all get to enjoy something.
Sure.
So I think that this auction is another one of those things where it's like, it could avoid you having a bad show.
Right.
Like if you were worried about maybe I'm not going to be able to sell much, you could put it in the auction and you could make a little bit of something, and
Right.
it's something else to do while we're here the whole weekend, spending our time
Yeah.
here. The live stream looks great. I walked by a couple times. It was very engaging. I also want to say your table setup is fucking ridiculous. It's awesome, bro.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I think more people. I mean, mind you, it's obviously not feasible for everybody,
Right.
Because some people are just one table, two table. But I feel like that really is what an expo should be, just big exposition and,
Right.
and all that stuff. How did you come up with how you're, designing everything?
It's honestly just grown over the years. Being at shows, wanting to set myself apart really is
Yeah.
kind of what the whole thing, leads into. But then making it exciting and fun for the customers that are walking around the show is the key.
Yeah.
And we've just kind of grown that and wanting to kind of step the bar up and set the standard. That's kind of something that we want to offer as Run It as well, as we want to get in these shows and not just, point people out for maybe having that one table set up that they can't do it, or that they don't have the vision, or sometimes maybe people just don't have the resources.
Yeah.
And so that's what we want to really bring to the table, is giving people the resources to help raise their brand, build their brand, and take them to that next level.
Yeah.
And if you go back 7-8 years ago, when I started out with Gecko Junkie, we started off as a one-table vendor.
Yeah.
And thanks to Repticon for allowing me to grow within these shows, we have became what we are now, which is a very... It draws you in. My booth, I feel like if you stand from afar, you can see it. It's very loud, right?
Yeah.
It draws your attention. It makes you want to go in there and at least look around and see what we have to
for
offer.
sure.
And then the branding aspect of it.
Yeah.
We want to look nice, clean, and professional, and that's where we've came up with, the banners and things like that. So it's just what I would like to see if I was on the other side of the table. So that's kind of where it all has strummed up from, is just keeping myself on the other side of the table, and what would I like to see if I came into an expo.
100%. And I think one of the best things is dry goods. I think a lot of people sleep on supplies and stuff like that. And you're allowed, obviously you have the animals on the table, but it's like also like people that come here and they need the supplies for the animal.
Absolutely.
If you could put a couple items on that suit a couple items on your table that suit the species that you're working with, like those are just instant upsells.
Absolutely.
You know, like those are different funnels. There's different conversations there. You know, why I prefer this over that. And you guys have a lot of branded stuff. It's just really, really, really about your brand, and I really do enjoy that, man. So what is something cool and exciting that's coming up?
Basically, the launch of RUNITReptileExpo
Okay.
within Repticon, I would say, is the coolest thing we have. I know for sure right now they've got us on the schedule for Chattanooga.
Okay.
So I think that's our next live event we're going to have at the show. So we're looking at kind of building that look for just Runit, but it's going to finally be separated from Gecko Junkie.
Oh,
it's going to have
okay.
its own booth. So it's kind of going to have its own presence in the center of the show. So people that are walking around can really get the full experience of the Runit.
Yeah.
We have another one scheduled for Asheville. The Atlanta Repticon, which I think is going to be a really big one. We've
The
got a
one
booth there.
in July?
Yes.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll actually have the Runit there. But that's really what's fun and exciting. We're working with Repticon to try to help
Yeah.
with like their image at the front door and kind of offer a service for them. So I think that that's going to be great with just growing the expo, getting the vendors really involved. Some things that we're doing right now is we're taking on donations. Anyone
Okay.
that wants to give us a retractable banner, kind of like you see behind me here,
Uh-huh.
they can donate those to RUNITReptileExpo. And we will take those all across the country to shows that we go to. There's no charge for that. We just ask they donate that, and we can kind of start to really build the core of Repticon and get vendors' names out there and promote everyone that's within the industry.
I love that. I love that because that's just about community.
Yeah.
And I think that there are a lot of people in this industry that can tend to take themselves a little too serious. And
Yeah.
that's not a slight on anybody specific. But in the end of the day, we are a bunch of people playing with animals,
That's
you
right.
know, and we should be a community. We should be able to be together as much as we are competition with one another, but it starts at the community.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah,
All right,
that's,
buddy.
That's what we believe in.
Thank you so much.
I
One more
appreciate
time,
it.
where can
Thanks for your
people
time.
find you?
Run it Reptile Expo Virtual. You can get us on Facebook, Instagram. You can go to our website, find out more information on how to become a vendor or how to just participate as a customer.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, I'm Tyler. I run Quality Bred Exotics. We work with a bunch of different species over there.
I see that you got something unique and rare in your hands. Tell me about it.
So we actually just picked this guy up today at the Tampa Repticon. It's a black tree monitor. We're working towards new species, and tree monitors are going to be one of the next big things for us.
Do you have other ones?
This is the first one to the project. I'm looking at a couple greens right now. I've been waiting on pressing the trigger on.
Okay.
But definitely, I'm waiting to sell a couple more of my larger boas and stuff, make some room.
Okay, cool, man. That is very cool. So, is there a reason why you started with this one, or it's just like it was a good deal and you're like, I gotta get this
It was
now?
a good deal, and I couldn't pass it up. I have a 7-foot enclosure. It's been waiting for one, so I came across the black one. I had to.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. Do you follow? I think his handle is Father Blue on Instagram.
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's some dude that he works specifically with blue tree monitors.
Okay.
And I think he went to where they're from and did like a whole videos and stuff like that on them. But he's been having some success breeding his blue trees and stuff like
Okay.
that.
I definitely
so
gotta check
I'll
him
send
out.
you the account so you could definitely check
For
him out.
sure.
So, other than these tree monitors, what are you working with these days? What's going on?
so,
what's exciting?
Exciting. We're working with more so. We're going to start working with bull snakes and a variety of different tree frogs.
Okay.
I'm going to start doing a lot more waterfalls and different kind of paludarium type enclosures, and probably going to bring some out to the shows and stuff. We got 4 different kinds of white tree frogs we're really going to hit hard this year, and try to do some more colubrids.
Yeah. So white tree frogs are definitely increasing in popularity. I don't understand why. I don't know
Yeah.
if you know this, but I am terrified of frogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I did
yeah,
not
yeah.
know that.
Yeah,
Should have
yeah.
brought one on.
No, I would have. This wouldn't be happening right
Yeah.
now. I'd be running away.
I'd be doing this alone.
Yeah. Cool, bro. So, what kind of got you to work with some of the stuff that you're working with? Like, what is it that when you find a species, what makes it like unique to you where you're like, I want to work with that?
More so than over everything else is the intelligence.
Okay.
I like animals that are smarter. I have a few. I have Ackie monitors. They're along the lines of smarter animals.
Yeah.
I've been working with a lot of different stuff. back in the day when I was a kid, I started with reptiles with my dad. He was a wildlife biologist.
Cool.
So I've been working with reptiles pretty much my whole life. So pretty much anything that you're not going to see at a normal reptile show, something that's going to bond more so with me, I guess you could say. Something I can train, like I can bring him out and hold him, you know.
Yeah.
Something that's going to, when someone walks by my table, I want them to be like, wow, what is that?
Yeah. So your dad was a wildlife biologist.
Yeah.
You have any cool stories?
So when he was a wildlife biologist, it was back in Ohio.
Okay.
He would bring home buckets of animals. He'd research them. We'd get to go let him go. So it was real fun doing the conservation. But by the time I was like 11, I kind of started doing my own thing, and I volunteered at a pet store actually in Akron, Ohio.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I got started on my own path and learning kind of what I wanted to do and what I like. Back in Ohio, we had berms and retics and all the fun stuff you can't have here.
Yeah.
So I've had to cater a little bit differently. That's why I did the boas and the carpets and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not really as much of a passion project as the larger snakes were.
Yeah.
So actually getting Pracinas, just playing with the keel bellies and the smaller, it's like a small tree monitor basically.
Yeah.
And it really sparked my interest in the tree monitors.
Cool. So you worked at a pet shop. How was that experience for you?
It was good. It was just an older guy, and me. I was running it, and he was kind of teaching me, mentoring me along the way because I was 11 until I moved here when I was 16.
Yeah.
I stayed there, so I basically worked for feeders for my reptiles. So,
Oh, that's cool.
So it was a good
It's
trade.
always good to have like a mentor. So your whole family moved here, or?
Me and my brothers moved
You and
here.
your brothers?
Yeah, me and my older brother got our younger one, and we came to Florida.
That's cool, man. So why Florida? Is it just because you could have so much shit?
It's just amazing here. I came for a vacation and almost didn't leave, and I went back and we're like, packed our shit and let's go.
Nice, dude. So this Quality Bred Exotics, you do that yourself or you do that with your brother?
Yep, that's me. My
Okay.
little brother does Stinks Exotics. He does crested geckos, isopods and stuff. He's kind of poking around to see what he wants to work with too.
Okay.
So he does his own thing. My older brother has like tortoises and stuff. He doesn't breed. He just keeps for fun. So Quality Bred Exotics is me. They help me and stuff, but
Yeah. It sounds like your dad set you guys right, man, with all that wildlife stuff.
yeah, definitely being around it as a kid definitely set me up, and more so about what's best for the animal's interests. And the bioactives was not a thing back at the pet store like it was 10 years ago.
Of course,
Nobody
yeah,
really
things
did the
change.
bioactives and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
or
yeah.
at least not around me. So that's all new territory in the last few years for me. So I've been really trying to hit hard, and I want to take a couple trips and see more stuff.
Yeah, man. Damn, that's real cool, man. Well, I look forward to your future. Are you going to be doing the Daytona show?
I was debating on doing it.
Okay.
I was just seeing what really I have to bring. A lot of stuff's being paired up, and I'm deciding what I'm holding back and everything.
Yeah. What are you producing most?
Most is going to be the white street frogs.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I
have-
mean, those
yeah,
fucking
but-
spawn a million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I just paired up like 8 different king snake and gopher snake pairings. I have a couple boas paired up, but a lot of stuff I'm really just trying to shift gears here.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, all right, bro. I'll leave you to it. I know you got your table and you got to go sell your animals and stuff like that, but
Heck
it was
yeah.
great talking to
It
you.
was nice talking to you too.
Yeah. All right, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. It's pretty much the end of the show. Senor Eric, we're here with Reptiverse. Tell me,
Hi.
you picked up some stuff. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, today I went home with a couple things. It was more of a utility
Yeah.
pickup. I got some lettuce. I already forgot what kind of greens I got.
Dandelions.
Yes, I got some dandelion greens for
You gonna the tortoises and
the
shit.
veggie boys are gonna eat that.
Veggie
I got
boys.
some crickets for the non-veggie people.
Yeah.
And then I also went home with a turtle tub. It's not
Okay.
a pond, it's a tub.
Yeah.
So
So
it's pretty
you,
cool.
you and I have been talking a lot back and forth the past couple years since I've known you about what you should probably do with your turtles, because you have
Yeah.
a lot of turtles.
I do.
A little bit of different species, almost like a little bit of everything, pretty much.
No, it's not that much. It's just side necks and the 3 stripes.
And
2 miscellanies, the diamondback and then the Japanese pond. But
Yeah.
those I don't really incorporate because those are pets.
yeah, but then you running into the problem of housing because
Overstocking.
yeah.
Don't overstock your turtle tanks like I do.
Yeah. So, but you got the turtle tub because you're already producing a bunch of striped mud turtles.
Yeah.
But now you're gonna try to put them outside.
Try to put them outside, actually separate my turtles so it can alleviate the stress of them being together and alleviate my stress of having to clean that tank constantly.
Yeah.
And I think it's time to go outside. I think they do a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm in a place that I can actually have stuff outside.
Yeah.
So now I get to play around with like terrain and I get to look at the sun and I can actually see how things would be put together. So I think it's going to be a pain in the ass, but I'm going to love it.
Yeah.
Because I really do have to pay attention to outside stuff. I have to be more attentive to temperatures. I'm basically going to be a rancher.
Yeah.
Turtle rancher.
Turtle farmer.
Yeah, turtle farmer.
Yeah.
It's going to be great, though. I'm really excited. I've been wanting that tub for a while, and I actually saw one that was pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw those 3 strips outside.
See how they
play around
do.
with it.
Yeah.
Sulcata's going outside, too.
Good.
This is going to be my big outside move because almost everything is going. The spiny tail is going out there.
Yep.
I already got the Chinese water. I already said the sulcata.
Yeah.
And as many turtles as I can outside.
Yeah, I think the majority of them that you have are going to be able to go outside. I think the
Yeah.
only one that would probably stay inside is a Japanese pond turtle.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
do want to keep 1 or 2 inside so I can actually have something to look at.
Yeah.
And I'd like to actually make a nice display tank for,
Yep.
the living room would look nice with that.
Uh-huh.
So I do really want to try to keep that diamondback inside, but it's got to go outside.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Now, the show's going on. Before I ask you, like, what cool thing you saw at the show, did you notice that they are doing an auction at these shows?
I did notice.
So it's at the Gecko Junkie section. And that whole display.
Yeah, I was going to say, by the way, that is probably the coolest display I've seen in a while.
That
They
display is
have
ridiculous.
walls of stuff like merch,
Yeah.
shirts, posters, and then they got their tables. It's pretty sick.
Yeah. They got a
I liked
whole
it.
situation going on there. We got to do that. The Reptiles with.
We're planning on it.
Yeah. If we could get fucking Tino and Chuck to cooperate to come to
Listen.
these shows.
We don't need them for that,
Yeah.
but it would be sick to just have displays,
yeah.
have some stuff for sale, but just have the displays here. People can see the podcast, and they can actually see like an animal that we bring out or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know,
that'd
I think it'll be
cool.
fun, something different.
On their table, they had an adult female pied
Yeah,
pectinata.
I saw that. That's
Yeah.
probably my favorite animal I've seen today.
Really?
Mhm.
Was there anything else that was cool that you saw today?
I saw a white spotted gecko.
White spotted gecko.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of the Bibrons gecko.
Okay.
Nobody cares about it. It's just a really cool little gecko from Africa. It looks similar.
Yeah.
They just get way bigger.
Yeah.
I like geckos.
Yeah.
That was a cool one.
On OTW's table, they had the albino carpets.
Yes,
That's cool.
that was pretty sick. They had some albino Darwins there.
Yeah.
What else was at the show? I saw a lot of turtles actually today. I wasn't planning on seeing that many turtles.
Oh, I might go home with turtles.
You would.
I haven't
You should.
decided yet. So leave a comment if I should buy
should.
more turtles.
You should. They look to be pretty good.
Yeah. It was.
You should take home that intermediate.
I don't know, man. But yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Anything you want to plug? Anything coming up for you?
Baby carpets in
Baby-
5 years.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
3 stripes and such.
Yeah, but I think actually, if not the weekend that, the Friday that this comes out, the Friday after, I'm going to be posting up the second video of our little comedy skits that we're doing.
Which comedy skits was it?
It's not like comedy
Are you
skits.
talking about the games?
The games,
Oh,
yeah.
I like the games. When are you going to do more of those?
Yes, we got to do more
gotta
of
do
those. We have the new merch that's out. I have to plug that again. The Reptiles with Coffee, always, but also some badass fucking shirts that we all agreed upon.
yeah.
There's some team shirts, so if you like Chuck, Tino, or me, you could pick a shirt. You can't pick one for Eric because he wasn't visible at that point. He didn't have an opinion.
Wow.
Yeah. Anything else, buddy?
That's all I got.
All right, guys.
Yeah, I'm good.
This episode was brought to you by Repticon Reptile Shows. Thank you so much for checking it out. Like, comment, and subscribe, and share with your reptile-loving friends. Later.